Hi there, the name's Nico, and today I am going over an update to my Rio video. Now, my Rio guide is probably my most well-known video, but that guide was what I thought would be good during the first few days of Rio where people were trying to figure her out, and to be honest, the build is not the best out there. So here's the best EBAD Rio build during Season 4. The critical chance build is just as strong as the EBAD build, but I prefer the playstyle of the EBAD build. So the build is Ancient Bolt, Crusader's Armor, Diadem, Radar, Feather Boots, and Active Camouflage. The route is Alley, Cemetery, Factory, Chapel, and Uptown. The build ID is displayed on screen and is also written and linked in the description. So with this build, what you want to do is grab an extra bandage in Alley if possible to make Sword Stopper. Sword Stopper will be used as your temporary arm piece until you get to Uptown. Sword Stopper is a really good early item and can help you lift fights that you wouldn't normally be able to. If you manage to get Sword Stopper, you can contest Cemetery Tree after looting Chapel, in which then you will be making Laurel Wreath. Now, if you did not get Sword Stopper, do not bother with this and head directly to Uptown because you will be too squishy and will not have any healing reduction. Also, after you finish looting Cemetery, if you spawn at the bottom left of Cemetery, I'll point it out here, you want to use your E to jump the wall to get to the factory loot set faster. In Alley, make sure you boil one of your water as you will be turning this into food and SP. On this route, you can make Music Box, but I chose to make Active Camouflage so you don't need to find 3 piano wire. Music Box is better if you find someone with it, but Active Camouflage is just fine. If you don't find 2 piano wire between Chapel and Uptown, head over to Beach. In Chapel, you will run into 11s, Yawns, Neathapon, pretty much anyone heading to Cemetery to contest Cemetery Tree. You cannot beat Yawn or Neathapon in Cemetery Tree or in Chapel, so do not even bother. Ideally, you do not want to fight as you are a late game character, so it's best to just finish your build. In Uptown, you can run into another Rio. There's another EBAD Rio build that goes Uptown that is not as fast as your build, and you will see this build in the gameplay video. You beat this build, so try to engage with it for an easy kill. It builds Tuxedo instead of Crusader's Armor, so you can recognize it from the chest piece. Once you have completed your build, you want to farm the bears in Uptown. Because Rio's main bow, Ancient Bolt, is a scaling weapon, it is a lot better in the late game compared to the early game. Most of the time, top Rio players will just be farming animals until they get Wiccaline, and then proceed to kill the lobby. Unlike my previous build where I said to kill anyone on site, because of the consecutive nerfs to Ancient Bolt and Rio, this is no longer possible. This is why you will be doing your best Nadine cosplay. The objectives you want to take if no one is there are Alpha and Omega, but if you see a lot of people fighting over these objectives, do not bother. It is not worth your time or life dying for these objectives. Instead, hope you find a mithril or force core off an animal, or more likely, a blue or purple air supply box. If you do not get Cemetery Tree, go for either Forest Tree or Hospital Tree during Night 2. You will be a lot stronger then, and Laurel Wreath will help you scale better into the late game. But again, if you see someone, just leave. Some general gameplay advice with Rio, you want to keep your spacing. Never walk face first into a bush because this will lead to your death. Rio is really squishy, and the augments you will be running, which I will cover in a second, are just used to keep Rio alive. Rio has one of the highest DPS attacks in the game, but she trades off her health and defense for this. Use bow skill, cameras, and longbow W to check bushes. Make recon drones if you have to for bush check. Rio does not want anyone to jump her, so doing anything in your power to stop this is ideal. If anything, play it safe. If you cannot check a bush, you can always just wait until bow skill or your W to be back up. With this build, you want to be in short bow form when fighting people, but if people are running away from you, you switch to longbow form and poke with your auto attacks and W. Your E will jump further when in longbow form as well, allowing you to keep up. Try to only use E when you know it'll hit your opponent or an animal, or else it'll be on a really long cooldown. The skill order for this build is Q, T, E, W, and R alt when available. The plan will have the skill order saved, so you'll not have to memorize it. For augments, you'll be running Healing Drone as your core augment. Your 2 green sub-augments are Assembly and Thea. Your secondary sub-augments are from the blue tree, which are Embolden and Steadfast. As mentioned earlier, your augments are here to keep you alive. If you are low health, you can always press your ultimate. You will have Healing Drone, Assembly, and Embolden active once you use your ultimate. Embolden can only be procced with Assembly, so you are only using this augment just to keep you alive for those extra few seconds. Thea is really good to prevent you from being ambushed. Steadfast is another defensive augment to prevent you from dying to chain CC from characters like Lennox, Adela, and Sua. For food, you can make garlic ramen. As mentioned earlier, make sure you boil one of your waters in Alley. Make sure you grab 1 garlic in Alley and 1 garlic in Cemetery. Eat the bread you start off with because you need the inventory space. And then once you make it to factory, grab a ramen that is part of your loot set and turn it into hot ramen, in which then you will turn into garlic ramen with the garlic you collected earlier. For drinks, you'll be making hot honey water. Grab the honey that is part of your loot set in alley and use 2 of your boiling water to turn it into hot honey water. You want to drink one of your waters in alley because you do not have the space for it. Rio has really good SP management, so these 4 hot honey waters will make it with you to the end game. Really, you will probably have to drink 1 or 2 while looting and crafting because that will be the time where you, along with the majority of the cast, will struggle with SP. Now for your transition items. For your weapon, you can stay on Ancient Bolt since it does scale into the late game, but you can also switch to Archaeotoxis. This may seem odd at first, but remember that Rio's passive converts percentage amplification into bonus damage on each of your auto attacks. Plus, Archaeotoxis has armor penetration and a high AP value. The only thing with this is that you will only be playing in longbow form. Do not switch into shortbow form. You will lose a lot of damage otherwise. Once you get Archaeotoxis, spacing is even more important. For your chest piece, you want to make Burgundy. Burgundy is really strong and is also an item that will grant you a shield to make you live longer. If you are still an Ancient Bolt and haven't got a VF blood sample, you want to stay in Crusader's armor. Now with the most recent nerfs to Tuxedo, losing 10 defense and 50 HP for 5 more EBAT is not worth it. If you have Archaeotoxis and haven't gotten a VF blood sample yet, you want to switch to Butler's suit. With Archaeotoxis, you want to have high AP value so your autos hit like a truck. And Butler's suit has 25 AP on it, plus it has lifesteal which can keep you alive for longer. Burgundy is a direct upgrade from Butler suits if you did not realize. For your headpiece, you want to switch to Laurel Wreath. Laurel Wreath is best in slot. You can switch to Fallen Pegasus as well. Only use Elysian Halo if you are on Archaeotoxis. For your arm piece, Radar is already your best in slot, so do not transition off of this. For your shoes, the Feather Boots are already good, but you can switch to Mithril Boots, Boots of Hermes, or Taproots. Mithril Boots did just gain more attack speed in the most recent patch, which Rio wants, and it has good movement speed and defense. Boots of Hermes and Taproots, for similar reasons, it is just more durable and tanky. You want to use Boots of Hermes instead of Taproots if the people left in your lobby have a lot of CC and you need the tenacity such as Adela and Sua. If you already have Boots of Hermes before Wickeline, just use the first aid kit for food. For your accessory, you want Mithril Quiver. Mithril Quiver is best in slot, but you can also use Moonlight Pendant or switch over to Lace Quiver into the late game if you manage to get Boots of Hermes. Mithril Quiver is especially important if you are on Archaeotoxis because you will only be playing in longbow form, and that extra attack range can make or break a fight. If you're on Archaeotoxis, you can also switch to Hawkeye if you manage to find one, but Mithril Quiver is just better. There isn't really a combo to do with Rio, just use your E to dodge your opponent's main or strongest ability, like using it to dodge Hyunwoo E, or to dodge Yuki's ultimate. When you are low on health, you want to use your ultimate to activate Healing Drone. Remember you also have bow skill, so you should activate bow skill onto yourself when you do this. Hold on to R2 if you use your short bow ultimate because your opponent has to play around your wall stun. Once you see an opportunity for a wall stun, activate R2. You do have several seconds to reactivate R2, so don't think you need to use this immediately. The bulk of your damage will be from auto-attacking. Now that I've explained the build, here's a game showing it in action. Hi there, the name's Nico, and today I will be going over the gameplay for Rio Guide. So I'm just going to explain to you everything I'm going to be doing, or like what my thought process in this video was, or this game was. I also was getting coached by one of the top Rio players for this because I haven't played Rio in such a long time. So yeah, I already point out immediately I have 2 bandages. In this build you will only have 1 on your actual build plan, but you want to grab a second one to make Sword Stopper. I mentioned it in the guide. So here I already have my 2. I'm making my food, boiled 1 water. Loot set, actually when you do this path right here, you actually want to loot the ones up here first before you loot these ones, just in case someone spawns, like in case someone spawns right here where my mouse is. But it was, in this case it was fine, no one appeared. You see I have my 2 garlic for food, there's my 1 boiling water for ramen, which we'll get in factory. You want to jump this wall, and then start looting factory set. This is the loot set you'll be looting, the one along the wall here to chapel. And yeah, you can make your either or, like you can make Crusaders or Sheet Metal Armor first. Fine. Yeah, just some early game looting, nothing too much going on. Ideally, you want to kill this chicken for the leather here, but I saw Hyunwoo killed it, and I was like, oh, he took the leather. But when I checked, he actually didn't, so I was like, okay, I'll take the leather then. So I can make my feather boots. You want to kill this dog as well, if it's up, for 2 leather. 1 is for your shoes, which is you want to use first. The second leather will be for your sword stopper, which is what I'm going to be making now. See, there's the bracer. I missed a nail for the sword stopper. You should grab it in that loot set, but you shouldn't go back like this, by the way. You should just go on. Even if you just have, what's it called? Bazaar or Bazarban, it's fine. Like, this is already really good too, because this has more EBAD reduction than Sword Stopper does, so it is a good thing to keep in mind. Sometimes it's just better to be on Bazarban instead of Sword Stopper, depending on who is around you. I'm coming here for Semtree. I'm gonna see if anyone's here for Semtree, but again, if someone's here, I'm just piecing out. I see Barbara here, and I'm like, nope, bye-bye. Actually, I checked her items, because she doesn't have much done. Sorry. I see he's here, and I'm like, no, there's 2 people. We're gonna just leave. There's no point in fighting. We'll just kill the chickens here, and then we'll go to Uptown. Yeah, it's not worth fighting these objectives because you scale from this weapon. So, yeah, we're just leaving. Bye-bye. There's my pen. There's the watch. Now we're just looking for piano wire. I am looking for 2 piano wire, actually. 1 for radar and 1 for my hairpiece, or my headband. I hear someone fighting over here, so I am keeping that in mind, because I am slightly underbuilt at this point. I see it's another Rio. This build that Rio's running, I'll mention it in the video, but you can... The build I'm running versus this build, because it's 2 different builds, you will beat this build. They are too slow for you. So you do want to, like, try to fight this person, or, like, that build if possible, because it's a free kill for you. Hey, Adri. But I'm really not here to fight Adri. Oops. I see Nikki as well, and I also don't want to fight Nikki. Again, a lot of the gameplay will be me just avoiding people until the late game. Just because that's how you play Rio. Okay, you can drop your Bazarban. If you have, like, Sword Stopper, you actually want to hide it on an animal, ideally. Yeah, here. I said you beat this build. There you go. I didn't want to check the body because I have no time, or I don't want to take redstone timer, but you can if you want to look for food. But I have 2 food, so I'm okay for now. You wanted to know what she had. She had these items. See, she was underbuilt. Yeah, I'm just doing some farming, get our weapon mastery up and our levels up. Just take all the cameras you can because you want as much vision as possible. There's Lennox. I fought her there just because she was already at low health, but you normally don't really need to bother. It's Lennox. It's actually, Lennox is really hard for you to chase. I tried the bow skill, but I was a little too short. So I knew I can't chase her, so we're just leaving. We're gonna jump here instead so we don't have to take any redstone timer. Keeping as much redstone timer is ideal just because, again, you're late game scaling and you want to make sure you have the timer for the final zone or temporary safe zones. We're gonna grab one of these meats off the animal and just eat it for some health. More food, which is good. Always check those blue bins, by the way. Lately, they've been dropping a lot of like meteorites, mithril, trees of life. So just grab them. I see someone killed these wolves, so I'm like, okay, we're gonna leave. I'm like, where should I go? I'm like, let's go archery, I believe I went. Yeah, I see this is all unfarmed, so we're just gonna farm it. This was a mistake. This was a mistake. Did not mean to press R. I meant to de-skill them here. I remember this. Oh my gosh. I meant to de-skill the wolves, or like bow skill, and I accidentally hit R instead of D. So I was like, oops. My bad. That's what I meant to do. Make some food. I'm gonna go down here, kill the boar. And just checking. I see what he has. I grabbed his tac ops thinking, I'm like, should I switch to tac ops here? And I ended up not doing so. I just dropped it. Gonna wait for bow skill to hit. And a mithril, which is exactly what you were looking for. You want myth quiver, so I was gonna head back to archery to grab it, and I was like, oh, maybe I should go elsewhere because I've already farmed all the animals there. And then I see that Omega is gonna appear in archery, so we will actually be turning around and going back to archery. Okay, Jackie's actually a bad matchup for you. If she jumps on you, you're actually dead, so you want to keep your spacing. You don't want her to, like, ambush you from a bush, so... I see there's people fighting. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. See this Jackie. And I saw this other Jackie on cam who's gonna go get Omega. See, she's like right there. So we're gonna go head over to stop her. Again, you don't need that heavy hit on them for... You don't have to fight hard against these people, or like the Jackies, or anyone contesting. But the fact that she's at half health, like see they're at half health, it means that I have a good chance of getting... Lennox is gonna chase this Jackie, and I'm like, okay, it's free Omega for me then. I dropped my butler suit, but you actually want to pick it up. I didn't eat any food here, which is bad. You want to eat food. I actually almost died here because of it. Make sure you eat food if you're gonna fight. I'm also, okay, I'm here. I'm looking for bow, rubber, and bamboo. So bow and rubber for Archaeotoxis, and bamboos for Mithril Quiver. So I am clearing my inventory to look for items. I found the rubber, so we're gonna make our Archaeotoxis now. I canceled that by mistake. Okay, so we got our Archaeotoxis. And once you're in Argy, or Archaeotoxis, you will be on longbow form the rest of the game. And also, I'm going back for my butler suit, because I actually need it. And you'll be switching off your crusaders for butlers. The wolves are back up now. Your bow skill at this point, by the way, does a lot of damage because Archaeotoxis has skill lamp on it, and like and armor pen as well. So your bow skill will do just a lot of damage. So keep that in mind. It's a good tool for just damage, but also just for clearing. Now I'm heading for Wick because Wick is your win condition. I'm trying to see where Jackie went. She didn't go that way. Lennox, I see them fighting and I was like, okay, I can just third party this, but I want Wick more than anything. So we're heading over to Wick. You can see where she is. Sorry, I'll keep that up. I don't know why it's not showing on the mini map where she is. I'm gonna make my Mithril Quiver before we go anywhere, because you want Mithril Quiver, especially when you're in longbow form. I see Wick, for some reason, instead of staying in Avenue, she decides to go Forest, so we are heading over to Forest right now. I'm worried about bushes, by the way, so I'm worried someone will jump me out of the bush. I don't want to start Wick because I have no vision here at all. I see Magnus here. I'm just gonna poke him. I'm not actually gonna commit. It's just to scare him off. Now I hear a Nikki, so I'm kind of keeping my eyes out to see what Nikki's doing. I'm checking that bush. I see her over here, so I'm like, okay, just keep my eye on her. I don't want to fight anyone while there's Wick, because I said Wick is your win condition, and if you don't get Wick, it's significantly harder to win the game. So my eyes are on Wick. And I know there's a Echion here, so I'm keeping my eyes on that. There's someone taking it, so I'm just attacking Wick. Nikki, I don't know what exactly Nikki's thought process is, but for some reason she decides to fight me instead of worrying about the Wick line that's like right there, so I need to... I bow skill because I want to pull Wick, but I ended up not. Just poking once again. Your autos do... At this point, your autos are doing about 300 damage in auto. So again, I don't want to be trapped anywhere, so I jump out for safety. At this point, I see it's low. I see him taking it, so I did hesitate a little bit there. I probably should have just eat the wall. I check Wick line. This is what I'm doing. I see that Wick has no items, so I'm like, okay, the Echion grabbed the items, so I'm gonna go after him. Check bush. Again, don't want to be ambushed. If I don't get Wick item or Wick buff, at a minimum, you want the Wick items. So I'm hunting down for Wick. I tried to stop him, but this dog was in the way. Like, 'cause I knew he was gonna go in this little crescent here, but the dog just blocked me. I went that way to check, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna come this way. So I saw he had like no timer when that Echion went in. Remember, keep your spacing. This point, there we killed them, and we can take the VF. We have Mithril, Meteorite, some SP. we're just gonna rest so we don't waste food. You can make, ideally you want to make burgundy, but if you see, there's no zones that have windbreaker or ribbon open. I considered teleporting to go grab one, but I'm like, it's not worth my timer to do so. So we fortunately don't have burgundy prepped. You should honestly, while you're farming animals, you should prep it. I was bad in this case, didn't do so, but I hear people walking here, so I'm trying to keep my eyes out and see what's going on. Magnus bikes off, so I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not gonna bother with Magnus. I'm like, I don't know where Ekion went because he's not there. Just farm the boar. I'm gonna make some more food. I'm gonna turn this into holy water just because it's really good food and I have no other use for mithril at this point. I could make mithril shoes. It's not that big of an upgrade, to be honest. So we're also gonna make more tears of Selene as well. And some baked carp. Okay, so now we're ready for the late game. Again, this is where I'm being extremely cautious because we can win. We can win this lobby. We just need to be patient. There's no reason why to commit to anyone at this point. Just poke people. Wait until the final zone. Don't bother looking at bushes. Because if your worst threat in this lobby actually is Jackie. Out of the people alive, these ones, Ekion's okay, Magnus, whatever. Your worst threat is Jackie, because if Jackie jumps on you, you are dead. So I'm checking every bush to make sure I don't die. Yeah, we're just gonna wait at this point. I want to see where people are. I have no cameras, which is really bad. You should have as much cameras as you can, but I used a lot of them trying to get wick. Open the map so you guys can see where people are. Oh, I don't know why it doesn't show. Okay, I know where people are from this, so I knew Magnus was here behind me. Also, if Magnus stuns you into while you are dead. So I am checking the bush to make sure he's not there. I know he's not there, but I know he's somewhere. So we're gonna... I'm like, okay, maybe he went into red to go to the other side. I'm like, maybe he went in the bush and I missaw it. No, there's a camera there. You can switch the sharp bow for camera. But you want to be on longbow. You don't want... I should be switching back soon. Yeah, you just want to be on longbow. Check the bush. There's no one there. I see a half health Ekion here. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna secure my zone. I know no one's in here because the box is green, so we're just chilling. There's Magnus. We're gonna poke Magnus. He leaves. I farm this boar just because you should farm the boar on longbow for him, but that's fine. I see people are low. I have timer to work with, so I'm gonna go in here. I saw Jackie got the last kill. I see she has 20 seconds. I know I can time her out at this point, so I'm just guarding. I'm actually gonna chase her so I can get the kill, but I actually have no idea where she went. Check that bush. So I'm like, okay, maybe she hid there, but no. I see she just came back immediately and she blew up. So yeah. This is technically 3 kills. If I autoed the Jackie even once, it would have been my kill, but yeah, we just won the game from that. If you like this guide, please consider giving it a like. It lets me know if you like these types of videos. And if you like the channel to turn as much as I do, consider subscribing. I hope to see you at the next video.